rises. Claire is awake a long time before she can open her eyes. It's the pain medication. Her consciousness dots its river of oblivion like widely spaced stepping stones she has to navigate to the far shore that is herself. But she makes it. It's nearly 7:30 on a June evening after a hard rain. Branches litter the ground, leaves plaster the seat of the old glider in the yard, and pines shimmer pink in the setting sun. The ending of this day feels like church, soft, around the edges, hopeful and tranquil. Claire's glad she's awake to see it. Then she hears the discordant metallic clang. She turns to see the squirrel running inquisitive fingers around the lid of her wildly swinging bird feeder. God damn it, she thinks, and falls back asleep. Awake again, but much later. It's dark now, but moonlight helps her put names to the shapes in the room. Her grandmother's washstand, the wing chair, the upright piano. A shape moves and she relaxes, then frowns. She hates the way his shoulders slump. Jack is so tired. Her husband seems perpetually bowed these last few months since her diagnosis. But then she remembers it's not Jack, can't be Jack. Jack has no idea of her diagnosis because he's been dead for more than a year and is scattered over a rotating cotton, peanut, soybean field in the flatlands of the state and commemorated as a scholarship for physics majors. No, that is her brother Adrian, and he slumped over because he's rooting through her pocketbook, just like old times. Looking for a lifesaver? Her brother doesn't even have the grace to jump. Instead, he laughs and turns on a lamp. When caught in the act of rifling someone's wallet for cash, Adrian would always plead a need for a breath mint, tissue, pen. Put away the family silver, Jack would tease during the rare visits from Adrian over the last 30 years, and she would laugh with him, but she'd bury her jewelry box in the laundry hamper under a week's worth of dirty panties. Brought my own this time, he says, and sticks out his tongue at her. It is as orange as the candy he is sucking. I was looking for this, he waves her address book. They'd spoken twice in the last year. She called when Jack died of an aneurysm, and then 10 months later when she got sick. And now, here he is, living in her house, and he is driving her crazy. The first thing he does when he arrives is send away the home health aide and postpone the hospice team. You don't need a nurse, you need family, he fusses, and plumps up her pillow so high that her neck creaks. I have family, Adrian. Cassandra said okay, he interrupts. Actually, she was relieved. I did call and run it by her, you know. Goddamn Cassie, Claire thinks, and then takes it back. Her daughter had always adored her Uncle Adrian. He was the only grown man Claire knew who would play Barbies with a little girl. Not even Jack would do that. Cassie, she's halfway across the country with a husband and 2 kids to raise. Me, I have nothing but time. You're not working? I'm between things. Actually, I'm considering retiring early. You retired at age 15, Claire thinks. What about the restaurant? Oh, we were ahead of our time, he says with a wave of his hand. And 1 step ahead of the IRS, I bet. Claire looks at her brother. He is a young 55 with 3 ex-wives, 1 ex-daughter, too many plans, and a car that was always breaking down. But he is fit and tanned. His hair still dark and fluffy, his eyes clear and smiling. And there she is, just 2 years older but looking 70. Her face thin and lined, her body wasted, most of her day spent on a daybed in the sunroom with its glorious view of her formerly grand garden, spectacular sunsets, and beloved birds. And now she is trapped. Adrian, I just don't think I'm up to this. No, you aren't, and that's why I'm here. She grinds her teeth. He is misunderstanding her on purpose. But then she looks at his face and sees that he isn't. Well, what did Cassie tell you? What I didn't get from her, I got from Dr. Tweedy. Why didn't you tell me how far along things were, Claire? She doesn't want to hurt him by telling him all the reasons why. Silence stretches between them. This time, he does misunderstand her on purpose, and she is grateful for it. It doesn't matter. What does matter is that I'm here now, and I can do this for you. Claire wants to cry, tries to gulp it down, and fails. Don't cry, sis. Let me help. It'll be fun, like old times. She hears the edge of panic creep into his voice, that guy panic that hits when a man realizes this is one crying woman he can't make feel better with sex. Before she can choke out a sob, he leaves the room with her purse. Old times. That is exactly what she is afraid of. He mentions the party the next night as he sits down with his dinner tray next to her chaise. A party? Yeah, people, food, music, whatever you want. It'll be fun. Adrian's parties were always fun. He was famous for them. 100 cars, the neighbors said the year Adrian turned 16, the year he threw his first big party. Claire was a high school senior, and she and her mother and Aunt Peggy, on a first-time visit from Seattle, were in Washington, D.C. for a weekend of museum and monument touring, and had left Adrian at home for a marching band competition at the high school. After the band won the competition, he invited everyone to celebrate at their house. Even kids from the competing high school bands showed up. Your taillights were disappearing down the block in one direction, and 100 sets of headlights were coming around the corner from the other direction, the neighbor Mr. Healy told them when they got home. Mom had listened without a word. Aunt Peggy was furious. Claire was many things: shocked, impressed, and at last hurt. The party of the year thrown by her own brother, and she hadn't been invited. To Adrian's credit, the house was not trashed. There were no car wrecks and no arrests. There was, however, plenty of vomit. A faint odor in the bathroom, a grease spot in the carport, a spray across the rose bushes. It was 4 months before Claire's mother traced the horrible odor in her bedroom to a congealed puddle behind her bed. Even Sparkles, the dog, had thrown up. 2 weeks, Aunt Peggy had grumbled as she loaded the washing machine. Grounded for life is more like it. She was outraged. In their zeal to drink everything alcoholic in the house, including the cooking wines, they had chugged her airline vodka bottle of the Atlantic Ocean, gathered at the beach a few weeks earlier. There was nothing left in the salt cloudy bottle but a few fine grains of sand and a clamshell the size of a freckle. Claire had just been grateful her bedroom was still in one piece, though she changed the sheets and washed the comforter and shams, even the pillows, just in case the odor wasn't fresh vomit, but teenage sex. And that was just the first party Adrian had thrown. Her brother's laugh brings her back. "Quit panicking, I promise I won't invite the marching band." She grins at him. Mr. Healy was so mad. The music wasn't that loud. Smoke on the water at 3 in the morning, he said. See, he was cooler than any of us thought. At least he recognized it. Oh, and Aunt Peggy's vodka bottle of ocean. That's when Sparkles threw up. Sparkles drank the ocean water? No, Dunk Jenkins did. You should have seen him running into the backyard. Sparkles thought he wanted to play when he got down on his knees. Dunk barked all over him, so Sparkles barked all over him. Oh, God, Dunk Jenkins drank primordial soup and crab poop. They laughed together this time. Please, sis, I want to do this for you. Kind of like a birthday party, but opposite. He stops, then rushes on. I want all of your friends to come. Everyone you know and love needs to be here. And say goodbye, he doesn't say. But they both think it. She squeezes his hand. When? It needs to be soon, Claire. I'm thinking Sunday afternoon. Ah. Now his face is easy to read. Okay. She takes a deep breath. Okay, and smiles. Great, he says. This is great, and walks off whistling. Smoke on the water, Claire hums along. And for the next exciting installment, you'll have to buy the book. Thank you.